Good afternoon, everyone. Blessed to have another conversation with today. I'm super excited about it, not only because I've seen him speak before, but because I think the message will resonate well with our audience. Clearly, what we've been shifting from is we start with the bracing for impact conversation on how you guys are navigating the business climate in real time. And you can see this as our stories have continued on. Now we're being reflective on that and we're preparing for the future. A lot of these messages are going to be discussed today. I don't want to waste too much time. Waldo, I want to invite you into our conversation with. Thank you for giving us some time.
You got it.
So would love, just like generally speaking, how are you doing? How's your mentality right now? How are you navigating this crazy storm, even in your business? Like where's your head at right now?
I appreciate you asking that. It's very, very important because I just got off the phone, Nick, with somebody who's helped do some video for me. He's been a good partner and some marketing for me, some demo videos, some stuff that's on my website. And I was getting frustrated with some of the lighting. We talked a little bit about the lighting. I've got the C920 Logitech, and now we have to get uncomfortable leveraging tools and technologies. We've got to learn how to use speakers, prepare for this new paradigm that we're in. And I'm a pretty good technology guy. I flew an F-16, so I'm pretty good with my head and figuring out stuff. But I was frustrated, and I called up Chris West. He's a really good guy. And he does consulting for speakers and coaches on video and does some web development. And I just started ranting about my setup. And he answered my call. He calmed me down. He gave me some insights. We downloaded a piece of software called Logitech gaming software and kind of did a little bit of white balance. But my point is, I had frustration today, just like a lot of folks that are listening to this, watching this. Business executives, franchise owners who are finding their income, their team dispersed, distracted, annoyed, frustrated, and uncertain. And part of my paradigm in life is being able to nurture relationships with people where if you're feeling aggravated, if you're pissed off or lost, you have somebody on the phone who is an expert, who you've built a relationship with, who can give you the insight, the acumen, get your vector back on path, and get you focused, which I was able to do to prepare for this call. And that's a really important thing, especially as we deal with this turbulence and uncertainty. The relationships you have, the people you can call to give you that context and vector correction that we need.
Waldo, for many of us, right? Nick and I were talking even before the call, and it seems like a conversation we keep having, which is, we think we're coming out of this. We don't fully, for many of us, and thankfully, if we don't have someone who's suffering from a health issue, we don't fully realize the impact. And I even shared with Nick, I feel guilty. I'm so business focused and people are suffering.
Right.
But we do have to redirect business. When you talk about vector, getting it back on path, is there a whole new path we have to be looking at? Or is it an adjustment? And how do you plan for that?
It's an adjustment because I'll tell you what, Charlie, and I appreciate you saying that. We've got to get back to the fundamentals more than ever. A lot of folks are being sold, you're getting invited to this webinar to participate in this and that. They're trying to call you. I'm getting emails and phone calls out of the blue. And I'm okay with buying and investing in my business right now. We have to be a little bit more, I guess, pragmatic and conscious of where we're spending our resources. But we have to reinforce and reinvigorate those fundamentals of relationship building, of value proposition. If you haven't done the hard work in building relationships and got uncomfortable learning new tools and technologies and providing value and being a go-to guy or gal in your industry and your craft to nurture those relationships before the missiles come, they're probably not going to be here now. And so some folks are struggling. I don't have people to call. I don't have enough resources. Well, it's probably because they didn't invest the time before the combat sorties. And my message to them and to the folks listening here, and I'm sure a lot of executives have built those relationships, especially building your franchises out and building a team and investors and leveraging tools and technologies and great coaches like you both. is, hey, you may not be prepared now, but you will be next time. So start investing on the technologies like Zoom. Start reaching out and being a resource to other people. Hey, if you don't have a big team of wingmen who can help you, then start giving your wings away. Say, I'm giving it away for free. Call me up. I'm investing my time. I'm willing to be inconvenienced right now to help you out, and start planting the seeds and tilling the soil more than ever, and building that reputation capital that attracts talent, that retains talent, both in your franchise and outside with industry professionals. And you'll be a lot more prepared for the next missile launch, or next COVID virus, or next economic downturn. Because we're in a war right now, and a lot of folks are in survival mode. And when you're surviving and people have limited resources and time, people are going to be a lot more selective when choosing to do business with you or choosing to invest their time and resources with you, because we're all getting pulled in a lot of different ways these days.
Well, we had a CEO on this morning, and he was talking about he's adapted the mission. The mission really for him is just to get his franchisees to the other side of this. And
yeah.
It's interesting to hear someone talk about the pivot. And obviously I've heard you speak many times, and you talk about pivoting and dealing with obviously the punches that are coming your way.
Right.
But I'm fascinated. I mean, just I pulled your website up on the screen so that anybody that's watching can go to it. It's yourwingman.com. You can also follow Waldo at Waldo Waldman on Twitter. But you look at this, are you mission ready? Exactly what you just said. I think there's some business regret going on, but the second line of your statement on your website, I think this ends up being the pathway forward, because if you build cultures of courage, teamwork, and resilience, like that's what you should be doing. Even if you screwed up, you are not mission ready for this thing going into it. Like this is where you focus. So I find it fascinating, because the reality is your message ends up being guidelines for what you need to be focusing on, because without people, good luck on the other side of it.
Roger that. And it is a combination. Your most important resources, your people and your reputation. And then obviously the tools and technologies that you have. And a franchise owner and franchise team, obviously leveraging the acumen, the team, the home office, the tools and resources available. But what you have to realize is the reason why fighter pilots and combat veterans are so successful and competent in combat is we prepared prior to the deployment. We prepared and built that trust and relationship prior to the mission, prior to the missiles being launched. Because when you're operating under pressure, i.e. the missiles are coming just as we are right now, you don't have time to nurture the relationship. You don't have time to press pause on the engagement and say, okay, let me practice this mission a little bit more. Let me leverage this tool and technology. You've got to do it on the ground. You build confidence on the ground. You get uncomfortable on the ground. You challenge each other on the ground, which means embarrassing each other, firing each other. You know, these wings are on Velcro, as you know, because you got to earn them every day. If you mess up, the wings are gone. The jets are, and the wings aren't always there. Same thing in business. Same thing when you're training a great general manager, or a branch manager, assistant manager, or somebody, you know, making Subway sandwiches. You've got to earn that relationship trust, that in technology and tools and skill sets every single day. So the confidence happens because we built it on the ground, and we trained as if we were fighting. We call it fight like you train. And so if you're not putting your people under pressure, if you're not stressing them to a degree where they're forced to feel uncomfortable and come up with new decisions or new processes, then you're not training your people hard enough. And that's going to cause uncertainty and doubt when under the pressure dynamic of combat and stress, once again, which we're all in right now. Different missiles, but the same threat, life and death, literally and figuratively, and life and death of that business. So you got to do it on the ground. You got to invest early through the tools, technologies, and the HR skill sets that you have as leaders.
Well, what I love, I mean, Waldo, we've been talking to, we're fortunate, the teams we've been talking to and the leadership, they're performing at a high level. What really frustrates me right now, or my biggest concern right now, is to have humility.
Yeah.
to not, I'm worried about what I don't know and blind spots I may not see. And we're talking about that with our team. What really frustrates me right now is people that are out there that are talking the talk, but they really they haven't prepared for the mission, just put in some of your terms. What I love is that the candor that you come at in terms of, hey, if you don't have the value proposition right now, it's too late. The missiles are coming. So how do leaders, like there's leaders right now, they got their Velcroed wings on.
Yeah.
How do they do a double check here to make sure maybe they should have been ripped off right now and we need to retool and use this as a moment?
Well, the most important words in business and life are I need help. Mayday, mayday. That is the wingman's call to action. And one thing that we did in squadrons where there was a high level of high standard of performance, the level and expectation was so high, we pressured each other, we had high standards, but we also allowed an environment where people could take off their mask and ask for help. Didn't mean you couldn't accept the consequences for your actions. If you walked into a squadron, especially before a mission, and you weren't prepared or slacking off or sleeping during the briefing, you're in trouble. However, if you didn't understand something, mask was off. You asked for help, and people rallied around you and trained you because that was the culture. And also as a leader, franchise owner, general manager, and even a home office top gun, creating environments where others can come to you for help as well. And I think when you nurture that and say, hey, it's okay for you to ask questions. It's okay for you to embarrass yourself in front of me rather than the person walking into your franchise, be it at Fast Lines or Subway or the Dwyer Group or a home remodeling company. Don't embarrass yourself there. Embarrass yourself in front of me. Be humble. And bring your problems to me. And I think the best way a leader can create that environment is when he or she shares their problems, perhaps shares some of their vulnerabilities, the mistakes they have made, and walks in and says, hey, man, I messed up. You know, I need to make this right. We should have done this, and I messed up. And so there's a lot to be said about that from within the franchise or in the franchisor or franchisee relationship. But a great leader, you know, we debrief our missions. First person that admits his or her mistakes is the flight lead. Hopefully there's not a lot of them. Otherwise, people are going to doubt your credibility as a leader. But we walk in and say, hey, I shot down the wrong target in training, or I didn't call out the auxiliary airfields like I said I would during the briefing. And according to the heads-up display here, I called a kill on that bandit in a left-hand turn at 30,000 feet. Hey, the pipper is not on. That person lived. I messed up. I owe you guys a round of drinks. And so having that transparency and the courage to admit your mistakes will marinate the stake of that conversation and create the opportunity for others to admit theirs. And as leaders, your job is to solve those problems. And if they're not sharing those problems, the safety infractions, the quality issues, the supply chain challenges, the fact that their people aren't well trained or uncomfortable with some of the protocols, then the leaders aren't doing that job. And you have to solve the problems so that you're confident under the pressure-filled environment of combat and chaos and uncertainty, which we're going through right now.
Well, we've talked with a bunch of motivation or keynote speakers, and you know, I think it's almost like a silent business disruption that like the mainstream media isn't addressing.
Right.
That your entire livelihood has been shook because the reality is your business was based on speaking to audiences in hospitality settings where you're there to motivate and drive them and help them drive their business forward. Now, given a lot of speakers have built side businesses or part of their business as a coaching component,
right?
You've been disrupted. Have you been able to push Mayday, or have you been able to look back and say, man, I better prepare differently because it was unexpected that this could happen, that March all of a sudden goes silent for an entire industry that nobody's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I appreciate
how are you doing?
I appreciate you asking that because, so I do mostly live seminars and keynotes. I had the best January, February, March of my career. and then actually half of March, and then things shut off. And so I do executive coaching. I haven't formally put it out there. I'm coaching 3 people right now. I need to do more of that. Entrepreneurs, mid-level transitioning leaders or executives who are taking it to the next level. I love doing that because I think people need a kick in the pants as well as a hug these days. I need people to kick my butt, to call my bluff, to call me out and say, you're not living up to your standards. What are you thinking? And give me ideas and tools on my personal fitness, on how to be a better spouse, create a better home environment so I can get focused when I enter this cockpit called my home office. So I think as I coach other speakers as well, we can't be known just as speakers. We have to be thought leaders. We have to be innovators, emulating it in our own life. So if I'm just a speaker spewing content from a stage and I'm not emulating that in my own life, then there's an issue there. And the credibility and scars and the battle damage that we may have that most people don't see when there's an economic downturn, or perhaps when somebody's got positive test results, be it COVID-19 or cancer or something else, or going through a divorce or their 401k drops. Those humbling disruptions force you to build your character and grow. So I've had a great year. I've been pretty smart with my finances. I can last another year or so or more. And I've got money in the bank. I plugged the holes of my business and made smart financial decisions to prepare for a time like this. And many entrepreneurs don't. And so I've been able to do that. I'm doing more of these virtual leadership webinars on crisis leadership and resilience. I've been through combat. I've been in war. I've overcome claustrophobia, panic attacks, a lot of different things. So I'm able to build and share that relevance to clients more than ever. So this conduit, and you can see I'm pretty animated. My voice is inflected. I think you can feel a lot of my energy now. I think people don't think you can feel energy looking at a computer screen. Well, I'm energetic and I'm passionate. I want to give. And I'm willing to disrupt. I'm willing to make folks uncomfortable, to give them the kick in the pants and perhaps the hug they need to get in that cockpit and keep moving. So I'm just transitioning my medium to more of these webinars, to executive coaching, and also just trying to be a resource to as many clients and executives that I know that may not be writing me a check, but I'm just helping, investing. Elizabeth Dole, when she ran the Red Cross, said, I didn't wait for the rivers to flood before I built relationships. And I love the fact that I can pick up this damn phone and look at my quote unquote Rolodex. And I've got people that would help me, would hire me if I needed them to, guaranteed. If I said, Joe, hook me up, I need to do a webinar, I need some cash, man, I can't pay my bills. There's 100 people that I could call today, and I bet you two could. And that's the beauty of the relationships that we have. So I'm innovating, I'm recreating, but I am also confident, and this is important, that the turbulence will end, the skies will clear, and we have an opportunity to go out there and kick some serious butt when things get better. And those companies who are giving now, not with just because they're getting a check written to them, they're giving their time, they're cutting costs. They may not be making money or a lot of profits, but they're helping. Those are the ones that are going to succeed. And there's a franchise company out there right now, and I was so ticked off at them. And I'm not going to share what they do because they could possibly be watching it, but they kept charging my monthly fee. My wife and I are both members. They kept charging a monthly fee and made it a pain in the butt for people to cancel because you couldn't go into their franchise to have their service. And I watched Twitter blow up. They were featured on certain news media, and it wasn't good for them. There's also a flower company who's charging an exorbitant amount of fees on shipping and handling now. They're gouging the customers who need their help. And I talked to them on the phone too. And I said, you have an opportunity to step out of your standard zone where people are in survival mode and be philanthropic. Come up with new ways to serve your clients and constituents, serve them, help them, give a certain portion to charity, cut your fees to help those in need right now. Yeah, your margins will shrink, But hopefully after this, when the storm's clear, you're going to be on top, and people are going to remember the franchises, the businesses, and the humans who've helped them now more than ever. And that's what I'm banking on right now. My business is solid because my relationships are solid. I will never be sinking because I've got buddies and I've got enough smarts and enough sweat equity that I'm going to push up that throttle and find a way to fly some new missions. So that's my paradigm as an entrepreneur who's got to go out there and earn his wings every day as well.
Well, it's so many points there. And then you talked about value proposition. And I think what you're reflecting on now too is I think the brands that are tone deaf and charging the credit cards don't fully understand that connection with their customer. Going forward, like how do brands really reflect on and connect with that value proposition to make sure, because I think on the other side, Waldo, standards are changing.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be more meaningful and purposeful. So what's your recommendation in terms of building that value proposition and really enhancing it?
So my son is getting into YouTube. He's 9 years old. He started his YouTube channel. He's like, Dad, I want to do a video. I said, all right, first and foremost, show me how you do these videos. You got to put some time in. And then I said, and then he's coming up with these 5 or 10 minute rants and songs and this and that. It's kind of funny and entertainment. I said, well, what's the purpose of your channel? Why would somebody want to watch this video? Who are you serving? What problems are you solving? What problem are you solving? What is the need? Even if it's inspiration and motivation or humor. But we got to go back and watch our environment, social media, listen to our clients more and say, what are your problems now? And if you don't know, the problems of many of our clients are changing now. What they needed before this whole disruption isn't necessarily what they may need today or the vehicle in which it's delivered. For example, Orange Theory Fitness, right? I'm a member there. I love those guys. They can't deliver their value proposition in an actual facility. You can't go to class there. So what they did is they're bringing the classes to you. They've updated their app. I'm getting little notifications. Here's a 20-minute Orange Theory workout for you to do in your home. That's relevant. That's value proposition. They're listening to the needs of their clients, and they're thinking, if I were in their shoes, no longer able to get the services when I want and where I want, what can I do to serve them? And so they are a perfect example of disruption and leveraging the new medium, a new vehicle, a new piece of technology called our phone or our computer to do that. And so value proposition has to evolve, and it ultimately evolves on solving the problems of your clients, your customers, and tapping into what they need and asking them and keeping a radar out via social media and through your clients, and even doing a case study or a study. Hey, how can we serve you better? What can we do better? Talk to 20 or 30 or 100 of your customers and ask, and even find out what your competition is doing and model what they're doing to win.
I find it interesting. I find it fascinating, obviously, that there's a membership model that doesn't proactively create a solution. There's landlords who are putting their feet down to business owners and saying, we're not helping you. So, but it's interesting. The reality is the complexities are for everyone. And you think about, like, the blind spot was to every single human in this world, because one, we don't have a pathway forward yet as a world. There's not a cure, antibody testing's not there. So we're being blasted by these missiles, and then your true self, like you're being challenged to show your true self, and you got businesses screwing it up, which good luck on the other side of this.
Right.
You have humans not being human. You have people being afraid to say that they're afraid. And then you go into the complexities of what we're dealing with: health, financial, panic, and political, all in one. This is a giant, crazy thing. But the reality is, you think about, like, fitness brands, they're all putting content online. There's not much that's different there, because everybody is so, like, they're afraid to admit that they're scared.
Yeah.
They're also afraid to admit that nobody has a solution right now. Like, that's where that human connection in my opinion, to everything. Like, give away the connection. Call friends that you haven't talked with in forever just to check in with them. Ask people how they're doing. Be grateful. Like, hopefully this shakes up the entire industry to say, we got to be better.
Yeah. It's so much. It's all about evolving. It's not where we're at, it's where we're going. This constant personal growth continuum that we're on, both as individuals, as businesses, and even as society. And this is a World War III. It's World War III, because the whole world is impacted. This is a paradigm shift, unprecedented, but it's a war. And we're not dodging missiles, we're dodging this virus, and we're also dodging a potential economic downturn and supply chain challenges, and so many issues there. So, but just as we are, Nick, you reached out, we had a relationship. Hey, say, Waldo, hey, can we get on this video and chat? 1 + 1 + 1 = 30, right? When you get like-minded individuals who are passionate and creative and have different skill sets, mindsets, and heart sets, by the way, it's one of my terms, heart set. People are really tapping into what their heart's telling them right now, as we find out what brings meaning to our mission and what's important. When you have these conversations with each other, with wingmen that you trust, that have the core values and work ethic and standards like you do, that's when magic happens. That's when industries shift. And the executives and leaders who are watching this, I want you to think about your peers, maybe your friendly competitors or other partners in your industry that you've met at maybe the franchise association meetings, or in your industry, or even at your chamber of commerce meetings, wherever you're going. Get together with folks and start having conversations and discussions. You may not have a solution at the beginning, but when you brainstorm and challenge and compel, somebody will create some catalyst to change, and you put some great minds together. I think that's what's going to happen. And that's the American entrepreneurial spirit. And that's what's going to helpfully get us through these times. When we were in combat, there were times where we'd be flying and the missiles would jam our radars. We would get shot down. In the beginning of the war in Serbia in 1999, we were going up against Milosevic. People were getting shot down all the time because our jamming pods were being intercepted by their radars, long story short. And so we called Raytheon, the maker of our targeting pod. And we said, listen, man, we need a solution. We need a solution. We don't have one. But they didn't say, we'll get back to you in a couple of days. They flew down to the base at Aviano in a hardened aircraft shelter behind locked doors. I remember them sitting on a raised platform in their khaki pants. And they said, okay, tell me this. What's the range? Show me some video. And they started asking questions and questions. And after a few hours, they had a solution. And they reprogrammed our harm targeting pods, and we were able to jam the radars that were jamming us, and we were able to stop the surface-to-air missile launches on us and save some lives in the process. Innovation starts with conversation and showing up and asking questions with smart people around. That's how we've been able to defeat the enemy. That's how we're going to be able to move forward. And that's what's going to compel us to nurture those relationships, not just revenue-producing relationships, but life-fulfilling relationships that will help us stay afloat and stay alive in these tough times and come out flying farther, higher, and faster. That's my hope, and I hope it's everyone's hope and dream that's listening and watching this video.
Well, I mean, there's so much there. I appreciate the advice. I mean, I think too. I mean, I wrote notes, but I think you nailed it in terms of, from a culture standpoint, knowing your purpose, who you're serving, problems you're solving. And I'm reflecting on it. I'm wondering, what's the story we don't know about when the Orange Theory team had a meeting, and did they, and they had to be driven by their purpose and concerned about their customers and understand their value, and, the exponential effect of that. Yeah, someone such as yourself talking about them right now, right? That's the power. that community. It's amazing.
And they did it to stay alive, right? But they said, what can we do to help our people? How do we solve this problem? And for some, it's not as easy as that, and some, it may be very challenging. Some business models may be completely disrupted or even go out of business, but new ones will form. But watch what your competitors are doing out there and invest. You may need to invest even more than ever. I'm working on new videos for my business. I'm redoing some testimonial reels. I'm saying, all right, within 6 months or so, things are going to hopefully get back to normal, at least a year or two. But I'm not going to wait to invest then. I'm going to invest some strategic resources into building my business and making sure when the jet's in the hangar, which it is right now, and the hangar being me, and you're looking at it, I'm going to tighten down the rivets. I'm going to give that engine some maintenance. I'm going to clean it up. So by the time I'm asked to take off again, I'll be ready to go. And so it's okay to invest in the refuel. I call it refueling and retooling. Tightening down the rivets of your business, maybe changing out some of the radar systems to be more relevant, and leverage that time, because we may not have that time in the future. Most of us are busy in the fight, right? And this is a luxury that we may not have in the future. Our revenue may not be going up, but now we could say, where am I going to focus? Where am I going to improve? Invest your strategic resources, be it in HR, technology, or new training manuals, or a new conduit to serve my franchise customers. And if we do that, I think we'll stay ahead of the game.
Waldo, I want to swing into final thoughts, but I would love just some comments on like comfort. Like, the reality is, us as human beings, we look around to someone that says it's going to be okay, and the reality is you've faced death, and this is creating true mortality for all human beings, because everybody seems to be 1 degree separated from someone who may have been young and unexpecting, who have passed because of COVID. So, like, if someone's out there like just looking for someone to say it's going to be okay, like you've faced it. So I would love your opinions on that, and then obviously final thoughts as we take the final turn.
Well, when I was in all of my 3 combat tours, and I flew 65 missions, each time going up with a certain degree of fear and uncertainty and doubt, but also confident in my skills, looking to the left and right, saying, hey, I got people who are depending on me that I can depend on. And also realizing that these wings and this flag, by the way, and when I show this American flag, it means all our NATO partners, because I flew with the Brits and the French and the Germans and the Australians. I flew all over the world. It makes me realize how important it is to do the job. That as leaders, and if you call yourself a leader, there's a time to step up and push it up. If you remember me talk about that, Nick, you got to push up that throttle and lead the way and set the tone for your team, despite the fact that the missiles are being launched at you, despite the fact that you're afraid, and despite the fact that you'd much rather pull it back and park the jet in a hangar and go have a beer and just call it quits. We are in combat. It is the new reality. And if you resist that, it's gonna persist. You've heard the saying, what you resist persists. And so you have to face the brutal truth of the combat zone that you're in. And I remember going to work sometimes in combat, and the news would come out. Hey, Milosevic is at the negotiating table. Blah 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 blah. We should be out of here in 3 weeks. Plan on going home, and then everything was over. Nothing happened. Hey, we don't know when we're going home. We don't know when we're going home. You could be deployed here another 6 months or a year. You don't know when the COVID-19 virus is going to be fixed. You don't know when your business is going to be back up and operational. Welcome to reality. And so when we face that reality and say, what can I do now to face it and to keep innovating and creating, rather than living in this zone of fear that paralyzes our ability, but instead say, we're going to get through this. We're Americans, we're allied partners, we're trained, we're going to kick butt. And if you don't envision a victory, envision a solution, envision the win, it's game over. We always envisioned the victory. It was always like, we're going to kick some serious ass today, and we're going to get home, and I can't wait. and this too shall pass. So realizing that sense of uncertainty and doubt going up every single day is gonna threaten to paralyze you, but you have to set the tone for your team, because if they see you paralyzed, if they see you full of fear, even though it's valid, they're not going to trust you to lead the way. And so resolve yourself to the brutal facts, and realizing that others are looking to you to set that tone, and that you're always on parade, as General George Patton once said. Everything you say, how you show up, the energy you're giving your team on the phone or on a webinar or a Zoom call, your honesty, your passion, your confidence, and the beacon of hope that you represent is going to truly, truly make a difference for them. And that will set the tone and encourage them to keep innovating, to stay in that jet and keep fighting, and getting through this war. But I think we got to envision that victory and see that as something that's going to help us get us through that mission and that war.
Waldo, I think it's perfectly stated. I personally appreciate all the advice you're sharing and your experiences. It's amazing to me. I mean, just some of the things you're focused on, but really for brands, businesses, just knowing what your purpose is, your mission. And, it sounds so simple, but when you said it, Waldo, it struck me pretty hard, which is that you do need to envision the victory ahead. I think that's awesome.
And it could be your future for your kids. I got my 9-year-old upstairs. He's on spring break, not making as much noise. But hey, man, when I was scared to death, crapping in my pants, and I don't mean to be graphic, but it was real. I was in war, and I had to envision going home. I had to envision, at the time I had a serious girlfriend. I had to envision my twin brother, Dave, sharing the stories with him, envisioning the conversations I would have with my future son or daughter. And this crucible that we're in right now is fodder, is fuel, is content for your future. Think about what you're going to tell your kids and grandkids. Were you the one that was MIA, missing in action, or were you MIH, making it happen? I just coined that term the other day. MIA or MIH, missing in action or making it happen. We have the choice every day. I want to be the one. You two want to be the one. Hopefully the leaders listening to this call want to be making it happen, setting the tone, being the first out the gate, pushing up the throttle, leading the missions, not hiding in the hangar full of fear and doubt while your competition and your customers leave you. Make it happen, man. That's what Top Gun aces do every day. That's what I try to do every single day. And it helps to have a supporting wife, supporting friends, and a little single malt scotch every once in a while. Doesn't
which our team is having after this. It's our Whiskey Wednesday, which we
Oh, there you go, brother.
Single malt ready. That's great.
I love it.
I'm like after no, please, Nick.
Go ahead.
Say we're grateful for your time today. I'm grateful that you got to hopefully inspire some people that watch this. Obviously, on the other side, franchisors, Waldo's spoken at many conferences. I've seen him many times. So go look him up. We're all trying to find the positive stories to help us navigate this next attack and this continuous attack. And appreciate you shedding some light on it. Thank you for your time today.
And if they go to Waldo Waldman on LinkedIn or social media, Waldo Waldman, Instagram, and all that, they can connect. And I'd also like to give you guys a free download to my audiobook. It's a New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller, Never Fly Solo. I'm giving it away to folks that want it. If people, there's 2 ways to get the book and share it with your team. You either can take out your phone and text the word Wingman to 44222. That's text the word Wingman to 44222. Hit send and then put your email address in. Or if you go to yourwingman.com/NFS, like Never Fly Solo, yourwingman.com/NFS, put your email address in. I'll send you the audiobook, and you'll also get a couple videos from my ACE program. It stands for Accountability, Commitment, and Execution. They're 3 to 5 minute videos on building resilience and trust. But I loved today. I loved listening to you guys. and I came up with some other great ideas as well. Like I said, when I'm with like-minded individuals like you, I get excited and passionate. When we're stifled on our own and flying solo, that's the worst thing. The best thing to do is be around other top guns to help you fly high. And I'm thankful to you, Charlie and Nick, for putting this together.
Thank you. Hey, Waldo, we're going to put all that info on our team. We'll put it on too. And I appreciate everything. I don't know if this came from you too, just using that term, this crisis is content for your future. Gives so much to think about.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That's a big statement.
I pulled that out of my hiney.
Well,
good.
I'm ready to go.
But once again, when you're with other folks, it's the spirit, the energy, and you feel it looking at a freaking computer screen right now.
I'm ready to run through a window when you were talking before. I don't know where I was going though, Waldo, but I'm like, but as you said that, and I know we're ending, and when you said this crisis is content for your future, and you brought up your son, this morning, we have our older son from college home. I woke him up the other day to train me on the erg in the basement. And I swear, I feel like time is stopping.
Yeah.
These are the future memories. And I didn't know how to articulate it, but what you said about the crisis being that content, Waldo, I think it's genius, which may not, you may not want me saying that, but that's amazing stuff. I appreciate it, Waldo.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you guys. Look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.